We may be a little late, but we are still here behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, everybody? Gene Berardelli, Ross Galloway here. Ross, I'm sorry for the last minute stuff. It's those damn Windows updates, man. They get me every time.
I was just gonna say, let me guess, Windows Update. Otherwise, it was a
Always.
flat tire. One or the other. I always hear the same two.
Well, the flat tires were always real, and I showed you photos of that, by the way. And remember that happened on the first live show we did on here? That was crazy.
Bro, you better just remember this, because every week I have to remember like an hour or two before we start to run through all my updates and get everything going, because it happened to me a few times too, truth be told.
Yeah, no, I do have to remember that. I got to set it like a weekly thing on a Sunday or something like everybody else does. So, did you watch the Super Bowl at all?
I half-assed watched it. It was not very good, so it was like hard to pay attention.
Wait, were you a Pat Mahomes fan or Chiefs fan, or are you a Swiftie?
So I'm none of the above, really. I've always said I was a Tom Brady fan. Kind of a weird commercial with Snoop Dogg, so I'm like losing favor with him. But Mahomes, Donald Trump said he was going for the Chiefs, so I figured I'd give it a shot and watch it. And it was a horrible game, and the Chiefs got blown out. So there's that.
Did you watch the halftime at all?
I did, and I was a few drinks in, so I didn't know who any of the people were in that halftime show other than Samuel L. Jackson, and I couldn't really understand the words, so I thought it was not bad. And then watching like other people's takes of it, turns out it wasn't good.
Well, I gotta say this. Clearly, it wasn't a halftime show that was focusing on our generation at all, and that's totally okay with me. I don't care about that. But can I just tell you that Marcos, my nephew, is a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, and he was rocking out to the whole Super Bowl halftime show. He loved every single minute of it. So I guess they're doing something good in that respect. But at the same time, there was so much inside baseball going on that you have to like follow, rap and hip hop. And he was filling me in on the meaning behind, the songs that were coming out. And I love the Petty. I love Petty. And the fact that this, They Not Like Us song was so petty, it kind of got me into it. And it's been rocking in my head ever since. I got to be honest.
I mean, I like the petty. I love that too. But I don't like the homework assignment / research to try to figure out what a show means. You know what I mean?
You need to get one of your nephews to smarten you up. I know they're still too young for Kendrick, but you'll get there soon. But let me tell you, the arguments and the jealousy, and I loved every single minute of it. Every single minute of listening with that kid. Made me feel a little younger again. So, they do that.
Gene B, rap aficionado. I would have never pictured.
And I'm a little surprised you didn't know that, because aren't you supposed to be our ambassador for African American studies or something like that?
I am, but not the cultural aspect.
So now you're slipping. Yeah, I am the captain now. Okay, so we had a whole show planned out, and we actually were organized for once. We had a plan. We were getting video clips really early out, and then news broke that we're going to be talking about today. We were going to talk about Doge leaving Dems in chaos, and we can still certainly talk about that as well, but not as much as we were going to, because as we were preparing for this show, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, breaks some earth-shattering news that we're going to be talking about in just a moment. But before we do, everybody who is watching wherever you are, thanks for tuning in. And I hope that wherever you are liking, sharing, subscribing to the show, wherever it be, whether it be on YouTube, Rumble, X. If you are watching anywhere else, if you can get over to YouTube and help pump those numbers up, that would be great. Go to Rumble as well. You know what? Go to all of them. And just click subscribe on every single thing. Follow on every single thing you see there. And we would really appreciate that. Let's get into the first story, the one I was just alluding to. Pam Bondi and the DOJ suing the People's Republic of New York, bringing up on charges of violation of immigration law. I haven't seen the actual filing yet. That would be with federal court. I don't know if that's actually been done or not, if she was just announcing that it was imminent. But a shocking revelation here, Mr. Galloway. What do you think? Just initially, your initial reaction here in the news.
Initial reaction, obviously, we're moving in the right direction. We could expect to see a lot more of this as Trump's appointees, get confirmed. But I got to tell you the truth. Like, unless I see Kathy Hochul leaving the governor's mansion in handcuffs, what is this for? So it's a lawsuit. It's not she's not being charged, right? Like, I want lawfare. They initiated a lawfare. Let's double down. Let's do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless it's something that she did outside of the scope of her authority, there's really not going to be a perp war.
Wait. Didn't the Democrats just lecture us for a few years now that no one is above the law and no one should be immune because of the position they hold? So what do you mean acting like in the scope of her authority or whatever? No, the Democrats set the precedent, right? I didn't see a Supreme Court ruling saying the governor of New York is immune from prosecution for violating the law during her term of office. If she's found to be violating federal law, charge her.
I got you, but is she violating federal law personally or in her official capacity? When they went after Trump, he was out of office. They had to go through the procedures of impeachment and then the trial in the Senate to try to get him out of office. So everybody has their own quirks. And again, I haven't seen the paperwork yet to see exactly what this is. Is this a civil lawsuit, or is this a quasi-criminal action for violating federal immigration law? We have a little bit of information from Pam Bondi, who held a press conference. I broke it down into some highlights in this clip, pal, just for the announcement here. Let's take a look at this, and then we'll have a little bit more of a chat here.
Because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. And if you don't comply with federal law, we will hold you accountable. We did it to Illinois. Strike one. Strike two is New York. And if you are a state not complying with federal law, you're next. Get ready. And what New York has, they have green light laws, meaning they're giving a green light to any illegal alien in New York, where law enforcement officers cannot check their identity if they pull them over. Law enforcement officers do not have access to their background. And if these great men and women pull over someone and don't have access to their background, they have no idea who they're dealing with. And it puts their lives on the line every single day. Violent criminals, gang members, drug traffickers, human smugglers will no longer terrorize the American people. And that is why we are here today.
So there's the announcement, pal. It's a little short on facts and details. There's mention about New York law, the green light laws as they're called here in the People's Republic of New York. But your initial reaction to the tone and what Pam Bondi was actually talking about.
So she's got the right tone, obviously. She's a smart woman. She used the term charges a little loosely, right? If she was filing suit, that's one thing. But she's saying that we're filing charges. Did she file charges in Illinois before New York? Like, I thought that was just like a suit. I don't know. Filing charges to me implies a criminal act, right? And the statute, which Tom Holman keeps citing all the time, is if you're harboring or shielding illegal immigrants, which New York clearly is doing, right? So I don't know. It sounds like it should be a charge, like a legit charge to someone.
Well, it two things. First thing is Pam Bondi is a career prosecutor, so I think she's accustomed to using the word charges instead of causes of action or allegations or words like that. It could be that. The other thing is, a state can be charged with criminal acts in violation of federal law. And I think that Pam Bondi might be alluding to that as well. I just need to see the pleadings and the filings to understand exactly what's going on with the lawsuit, and then we can talk a little bit more intelligently about it. But let's assume for the moment that it's basically civil violations of criminal statutes, that it's just causes of action against New York. At the press conference, Pam Bondi was asked pretty much what you were just asking. Like, what's the deal with these charges and how does this apply to New York? So let's play this clip as well.
Just briefly walk us through what the legal claims are you're making in this lawsuit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the green light laws are that this is what the green light law says. It's a green light to illegal immigration, which says they can comply. That law is unconstitutional. They can't do that. And what they've done is they have a tip-off provision that requires New York's DMV commissioner to promptly inform any illegal alien when a federal immigration agency has requested their information. So think about the men and women in law enforcement behind me. That's basically, that's not basic. It's tipping off an illegal alien, and it's unconstitutional. And that's why we filed this lawsuit. And that's why we charge Mark Schroeder, too, because he runs DMV.
So that provides a little more clarity into what's going on here. I think Pam Bondi is saying that New York law violates federal law, and therefore they must be charged with a violation, and the penalty would probably be an exorbitant fine and, taking down that law in the state of New York or something like that. I don't know, but that's what it sounds like to me, at least on first blush here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It's a force of habit. She keeps using the word charged. Yeah, I mean, on its face, it seems like shielding of illegal immigrants, right? If you're tipping them off that there was an inquiry into their driver's license, if the police pull up behind you and run your plate, you don't get notified in the mail or by a phone call from the commissioner of the DMV telling you that someone inquired about your history or status, right? So why are they? Right? New York is clearly in violation of federal law. And by the way, Gene, I get sick and tired of hearing people say, my state's not going to enforce federal law. That's immigration is a federal issue. So is kidnapping. So is bank robbery, right? There's lots of federal laws that local jurisdictions enforce, right? Drug trafficking, there's tons of them. I can go on all day where both levels of government have some say in this. And sometimes it's exclusive to the federal government, but the local authorities do, in fact, help out, right? So this should be no different. And they're not even asking them to take, proactive or affirmative steps. They're asking for access to DMV records like the FBI would have if they were conducting a criminal investigation against you, an American citizen.
Right, and let's take this a step further. Let's bring it down to an individual level. Can you, Ross Galloway, simply say to any level of government, "I refuse to follow this law," even though I live under that jurisdiction?
No. I mean, you can.
So why should New York State be able to do that?
They shouldn't be, right? And hopefully Republicans get their heads out of their asses because there's multiple ways to attack, right? You got to hit them with the tennis ball machines here. Multiple balls going at them. One is lawfare. That's terrific. Two is funding, right? All these discretionary funds that DOJ is digging up, and every federal department has these things, especially Department of Homeland Security. They give New York a lot of money. Stop giving it to them. Just like how, do you think it's a coincidence that there is no federal law that says you have to be 21 years old to buy alcohol, yet every state in the union made it 21 years old? Why? Because federal highway funds are tied to that provision at the state level. So Republicans need to get off their ass, stick together, eliminate the filibuster, which I hope to go into more later, and start squeezing them. No, any state that does X, Y, or Z, DEI, no voter ID, you lose these federal funds, period, if it's discretionary.
Yeah, I mean, DMV in the People's Republic of New York is also involved in voter registration, and they share information between the two agencies. You can certainly go after New York's DMV and restrict certain funding if they don't comply with certain laws. But also fundamentally, from a constitutional point of view, and you cite the Constitution all the time on here, just like I do,
I'm losing you.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, but for some reason it just got muted on me. Let me get back to what I was saying. From a constitutional point of view, because we both cite the Constitution, what level of government is charged with the administration of immigration policy?
That's actually very clear cut, because under the Obama administration, he sued the state of Arizona, and the Supreme Court decided that, like the Constitution says, the federal government has complete jurisdiction over immigration.
So basically what is happening here is the state governments are using what levers of power they have to interfere with the constitutional authority of the federal government. That's what's going on.
Yes, and if the federal government, under the Constitution, has exclusive authority in this area of immigration, and the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land, the Supremacy Clause, the states cannot do anything to thwart the federal government from exercising a power exclusive to them. Any law they pass in that domain, and I'm not a lawyer, is the supreme law of the land under the Constitution. They must comply.
Absolutely 100% correct. Shout out to SportsWire Radio tuning in live to hang out with us. Glad that you're here. Let's talk about this New York law, though. Let's talk about New York's green light laws. Pam Bondi spoke about it briefly, and I'm sure it's going to be in the lawsuit. But I figure we should take a look at what New York State DMV says about these green light laws. Let me pull up the DMV website here, and we can go through it together. So here it is. This is from New York State DMV, driver's licenses and the green light law. They have a whole web page dedicated to it. The Driver's License Access and Privacy Act, commonly known as the Green Light Law, was enacted in 2019 and took effect in December 2019. It allows all New Yorkers age 16 and older to apply for a standard, not for federal purpose, non-commercial driver's license or learner permit, regardless of their citizenship or lawful status in the United States. They don't need a social security number for it, apparently. Applicants who have never been issued a social security number are eligible to apply. They just have to sign an affidavit of never having been issued a social security number. You can't get it as a non-driver ID. They have language assistance and all these things. Privacy protections. The law provides a number of privacy protections that limit data sharing, including to agencies that primarily enforce immigration laws, federal government, and requires disclosure to the license holders when immigration enforcement agencies request data from. So here's the deal. I don't know what the hell happened. My whole system just crashed here. So it says my device is not connected on my computer. I need to connect my microphone and my cam before adding myself to the stream here. So you know what? I'm going to wing it from my phone here. This is a lot like a bus ride we took, where we had to string together a bunch of devices together just to make sure that I'm able to do this. So sorry for all the feedback, everybody. And I think what I'm going to do, pal, is just proceed without a camera here. I'll put a little photo of myself into post-production and go back from there. Right. So I was trying to explain the green light laws, right? I don't know how much of it got out there, but just to refresh, the green light laws allow for, I'm going to go back up to the top here. They allow for non-resident and illegal aliens to apply for driver's licenses, and they get this not for federal purpose, non-commercial driver's license. Moreover, as Pam Bondi was talking about, the law provides a number of privacy protections that limit data sharing, including giving data to enforcement agencies on immigration. Who are they talking about? They're talking about the federal government, of course. It's kind of amazing that the law on its face openly aids and abets illegal immigrants. It's absolutely crazy to my mind to think that.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly harboring or shielding illegal immigrants in the state of New York.
Are you okay now?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I got to mute. Hang on. I got to turn my volume on here. Hang on.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, stop it. I'm winging it here, goddammit. I had to put the volume up on my phone so I could hear you. Go ahead. Say what you were saying again.
When SportsWire Radio isn't working on Elon Musk's Doge team and doing his own show, we should get him to help us with the tech on ours because we're struggling here.
Calm down. I appreciate SportsWire's help and everything, but I think we're good. So
no, while you were gone, I was vamping for time, and I just told a very brief story.
I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing about the DMV and all that with you.
Yeah, so it's wild. So like anybody who trusts that the DMV is doing the right thing and not sharing information they probably shouldn't share with the Board of Elections to register people to vote is crazy to begin with. And number two, this is clearly violating federal law, and it's on their website saying that they're going to do such. Right? Imagine if they said it about terrorists. Like, yeah, if the FBI is investigating you for terrorism and they hit us up for information, we are going to give you a heads up that happened. Right? How would that work? Would anybody entertain something so stupid? This is federal law, immigration law. What's the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no difference here. I think the difference is New York wanted to openly oppose Donald Trump. And they created this law because they wanted to openly oppose Donald Trump.
But I want to know who goes to jail at some point, right? This is not just we're going to oppose Donald Trump. Like the Senate Democrats right now, they are being obstructionists, right? They are voting party line against all his nominees. They're demanding 30 hours of debate time. That's why his nominees are going through at snail's pace, right? That's normal political BS. These people are violating federal law on their public-facing websites, right? Something has to happen to these people.
I completely agree. I only, like I said, we need to see the pleadings on all of this to understand exactly what the hell's going on. That's what it comes down to. What are the magic words in that magical piece of paper that is giving any indication as to what their intention is? Is it going to be a large fine? Is it going to be repeal of the law itself? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know exactly how they're going to be handling this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think they'll get some of these things are going to be found to be unconstitutional. There may or may not be fines, but at the end of the day, the Republicans in Congress need to step up and hurt New York and places like it.
I think that's the way to do it. I think Pam Bondi is making an example of Illinois, making an example of New York, and establishing once and for all that these sanctuary jurisdictions are a bunch of BS, that they have no true effect on the law. And I think a court needs to step up and say that if you pass a law that openly is in opposition to the exclusive powers of the federal government, that law is rendered null and void. It should be a nullity at this point.
Yeah, but let me give you one more clear-cut example, Gene, of like a guy who should wind up in handcuffs any day this week. Governor Murphy of New Jersey, right? He came on TV and said he is harboring an illegal immigrant in his home, right? Like that. This is not like he's acting in his official capacity, unless it's the governor's mansion. I don't even know if New Jersey has one of those. But he is flagrantly violating federal law on television. Yeah, I'm harboring this person in my house and I'm protecting them. Right? That's clear violation of not just the spirit of the law, the actual text of the law. So why is he?
And that's why Tom Homan was openly talking about investigating whether or not he can go to the state house or to the governor's mansion in New Jersey and arrest Murphy for that.
And they should.
And it's an open question as to whether he should be able to do it. If someone is so openly flouting the law as these sanctuary jurisdictions are, and there's no repercussion, that's a major problem, because then everyone is going to be encouraged to pick and choose the laws that they want to follow.
Yeah, and always remember, whatever the Democrats accuse the right of doing, they are in fact doing themselves. No one's above the rule of law, lawfare, prosecuting your political opponents, ignoring the judicial branch, ignoring Congress. anything they accuse us of doing, they are in fact doing themselves, right? And by the way, I don't want to hear a single Republican chairman, whether it's in the House or the Senate, talk about any investigations that they're going to participate in or initiate in a legislative branch, right? We sat through 4 years of them during Joe Biden. They all went nowhere. They're pointless. They're stupid. The only investigations I want to hear about should be coming out of DOJ for the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, that's what should be happening here. The fact that these people don't follow the law, they don't respect the law, it's a major problem. It's absolutely a major problem. And what's a major problem for me right now is trying to see if I can get my microphone and my camera working again. But I think we're okay with it this way. I think people will be forgiving and they'll be nice to us for going through the hassle and going through the motions of this show and still being able to handle it. So I want to thank everybody for that patience.
I don't like not having you on camera though, because now I don't know if I'm talking to Gene AI or Gene GBT.
Oh, it's great for me because I can give you the finger. I can curse under my breath and you not see it. This works so well for me. I kind of like it. But anyways, listen, let's move on to another topic here that we're going to be talking about before we start doing all the merch plugs and all the website plugs and all that stuff. This is a topic picked by one Ross Galloway. And I'm going to let you talk about Mitch McConnell.
All right, let's start with this. I don't know about term limits in the legislative branch, but we got a real problem, Gene. First of all, we had Joe Biden, right? He's not in the legislative branch. He was once upon a time for a long time. But you got these people who are physically and cognitively not able to do the job, right? They more so appear to be coming from the left side of the aisle. But Mitch McConnell, I'm an equal opportunity guy here. He needs to go. Look at this man. Do you think he has control over his faculties? Right? And I'm even going to put that aside for a second, Gene. Let me just talk this one more piece and I'll throw it back to you. Mitch McConnell, what is today? February 12th. Mitch McConnell, a little over a month ago, was the Republicans' Senate Majority Leader, right? For many, he was the longest serving Republican Senate Majority Leader. Fast forward to today. He joined in a block vote with the Democrats to vote against Tulsi Gabbard for DNI, the only Republican to cross party lines. He voted against Pete Hegseth. I'm sure he's going to vote against RFK and Kash Patel, right? That was our Republican leader, right? So either he's been a rhino all along, which I don't know why we put rhinos in leadership positions, but we have a habit of doing that too. Or he's not in control of his mind anymore, and someone else is pulling the strings. Either way, it's fucking unacceptable, man. This guy got to go.
Oh, I absolutely hear you. The White House also agrees with you, pal. This is Caroline Leavitt at the White House press briefing today when asked about those two nominations, Mitch McConnell's votes on Tulsi Gabbard and on Pete Hegseth.
Can he be a partner in the president's legislative agenda? Are you disappointed that he voted against not only Tulsi Gabbard, but also Pete Hegseth to be the defense secretary?
I think we're greatly disappointed in any Republican who chooses willfully to vote against the president's exceptionally qualified cabinet nominees and picks to lead his America First administration. Not a single Democrat swayed from voting against President Biden's nominees, and we know how many of them turned out. They turned out to be atrocious at their jobs, leaving America much worse than they were when they took the oath of office. And so I've said it repeatedly from this podium. I addressed it at the beginning of my remarks. We expect all Republicans to vote, to stay tough and strong, vote for President Trump's nominees so we can get to work and continue to work very hard to implement this president's agenda. Sure.
Thank you. And thank you, Caroline.
So there you have it. I think that message sent to all those middle of the road, rhinos, if you want to call them. And then after this, I believe it was Senator Murkowski from Alaska that announced on X that she would be voting for RFK Jr. So I guess message received, at least in that respect, pal.
Yeah, And just to stay on McConnell for 1 second, man, because the other thing is this: like the people in my circles, they'll say things like, "Yeah, well, you know, if McConnell resigns, the governor of Kentucky is a Democrat, and he'll appoint a Democrat." I don't care, right? You can't have people like Mitch McConnell who can barely speak, freezes up when he does try to speak. Like, according to the Constitution, going back to that, Congress has the power to declare war, right? You can't have someone not in control of his mind or body in Congress as a senator, right? One of 100 people that are representing us in the legislative branch. Sports Wire Radio, that comment he made about Dianne Feinstein. There's a question as to whether or not she died before she cast a vote. She's on camera with people like telling her how to vote because she was so out of it. Nancy Pelosi, have you seen video of her? She's walking with 2 ski sticks because she's out of capacity and she's a mess. There's a Democratic congressman, I don't know his name, but he froze giving a speech on the floor for approximately 30 seconds while his brain rebooted, and then he came back to life and finished some remarks that one of his staffers wrote for him to read on the House floor. This is scary stuff, man.
Yeah, well, and then there's this aspect, pal. Take a look at this on the screen right now. I know memes aren't like the most reliable source of things, but it's undeniable that as minority leader, McConnell voted for Lloyd Austin. He voted for Pete Hegseth. He voted for Merrick Garland. Yet he didn't vote for Pete Hegseth. What the hell?
And now Tulsi Gabbard, right?
And now Tulsi Gabbard.
What's even more shocking, Gene, because you expect this type of shit from the Democrats. The Democrats, did they forget? Tulsi Gabbard, first of all, was a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army, right? We'll put that aside. She was a congresswoman, a Democratic congresswoman from Hawaii. She was vice chair of the DNC for a while. She ran for president as a Democrat. In the speech that she gave when she dropped out of that race, she said she defended Bernie Sanders, who also voted no on her nomination, she said that he was treated unfairly by the DNC during that primary with Hillary Clinton. All right. And then the latest, everybody on the right is like, well, Fetterman, another guy with brain damage, by the way, has the most sense in the Democratic Party. He's really coming along. He's been voting no on all these guys too, right? So don't fall for Fetterman's trick. Fetterman sees the writing on the wall that Pennsylvania voted for a Republican for the other seat there, right? And he's worried that Pennsylvania is purplish turning reddish, and he's worried for his own ass. But watch his actions, not his words. Oh, absolutely. He's been moderating his speech. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, how he's moderating his speech, but he's not moderating his vote, and that's what actually matters here. The whole situation with, you can talk about McConnell, and of course he's basically Frankenfeinstein 2.0, but you can also talk about Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, who want to retain their independence in voting for these nominees. And the scary thing is they are the 3-vote advantage that Republicans have in the Senate. Thank God that you have a vice president like J.D. Vance to come in and break ties, because there is zero margin for error with these people. And I just to reiterate again, you talked about we talked about Dianne Feinstein, we talked about Nancy Pelosi, the gentleman Representative Larson in Connecticut. This is what we're looking at here with all of these octogenarian representatives. I think we did a video on this back with This Week in Dumbemocracy, that we need to figure out a mechanism for competency of a lot of these older members of Congress. And I know you're going to say term limits, pal. I know for a fact you're going to say term limits. But to me, that's not the answer. And we can have that argument again if you want. No, I mean, I started this off with, I'm open to the discussion of term limits, but I don't know if that is the fix. And Sports Wire Radio is thrown in the chat. Age limits, maybe. I'm not even sure about that. Because, Donald Trump is getting close to 80. Does anyone think he's not in control of his mind and body still? Right? I think that First of all, there's never a good time to clean house. Every 2 years, you'll hear people say in the political world, yeah, that one's a rhino, but we need the majority, so let's not rock the boat there. Let's focus somewhere else. Like, I don't buy that, man. 2 years from now, Murkowski needs to get challenged. I know there's ranked choice voting in Alaska, and it's going to be very hard, but she needs a legitimate, well-funded challenger. Collins in Maine will probably lose the seat. But who cares? Fund a primary challenger and then even do what the Democrats do. Pick somebody even crazier to run against her on the Democratic side in a primary and play with their games that they do to us, right? Get rid of them. We should never be in the minority in the Senate, right? Those 2 Georgia seats, we got to get those back. There's a bunch of seats out there that Republicans are not in control of, where the state votes Republican all the time. We need to get those back. We should never be in a minority, and we should never tolerate a Susan Collins, a Mitch McConnell, or a Lisa Murkowski again. And on the House side, same thing, right? I don't care if you're a Staten Island congresswoman and every once in a while you got to vote crazy because you think that somehow helps you in that district because you're in New York. Let's primary her too, right? I don't care. What's the benefit of having these slim majorities if we still can't get what we want or what we voted for?
Yeah, I certainly hear you on that. And it takes someone with a lot of money and a lot of motivation. Oh, wait, there's a guy named Elon Musk that will probably be willing to do that if it goes towards his advantage as well and his interests, which I think it would.
Yeah, and just think about this for one more second, Gene. The Mitch McConnell chronicles here. There was a race that should have been very competitive and we probably should have won it out in Arizona, right? SportsWire Radio just said we fumbled Arizona. Why didn't we put any money behind Carrie Lake in Arizona when she was running for Senate? Who was in charge of the money at that time? Mitch McConnell, right? That was our supposed leader. Why did we elect him as leader? Why was John Cornyn of Texas even being considered for a leadership position this time around? Right? He's probably just as bad as Mitch McConnell, and he's getting to that age where he's going to start malfunctioning too in public, right? But he was danger close to being our leader. This is insanity. The party needs to straighten up. I feel bad that a lot of the Trump people that were involved in the RNC to help get Trump elected, like Lara Trump, jumped ship already, right? Because they got other jobs or other opportunities, and that's just a shame because I think it does start with the RNC. To put pressure on some of these people that are in the Senate and in the House.
I think so as well. And who knows, maybe there's another crop of America First candidates that will be coming up the pike to follow in the footsteps of like the J.D. Vances and the Vivek Ramaswamis that will find the national spotlight in the next 4 years as well. One can only hope. So listen.
The last note on that before you jump off is, the midterm elections are less than 2 years from now, right? It's like 18 months, really, and it's hot and heavy in the midterm elections. It doesn't matter what happens there, right? If the Republicans don't get their shit together and get everything passed in the next year and a half, it's not going to matter, right? Because Trump becomes a lame duck president, and it's a wrap. So if there's ever a time to clean house, that's the time, right? Get rid of our dead weight, even if we fall into a minority position, as long as the Democrats don't get 67 senators because they're going to try to impeach him if they get the House. Who cares, right? Get your stuff passed. That's why I say constantly eliminate the filibuster. Ram everything down their throat now while we got it. Because I just want to ask you one question, Gene, then we're going to talk about whatever you want, I promise. Do you not think the next time this current manifestation of the Democratic Party, do you not believe the next time that they win the White House and control the House of Representatives and the Senate, even if it's by the slimmest of majorities, do you not think, especially after Trump's presidency, that they're going to eliminate the filibuster and ram shit down our throats? Do you not think that?
Oh, I mean, the precedent is already there. We saw that with Harry Reid. He broke the seal on that. They are the OG reformers of Senate rules and getting rid of the filibuster and all of that.
So we have to beat them to the punch. You don't wait for a nuclear bomb to go off in your city before you do a preemptive strike and take that shit out.
But more importantly, you don't. I think Republicans have learned by now that you cannot play the honorable game with a dishonorable adversary. And Democrats have shown themselves to be that dishonorable adversary lately. So, yeah, I tend to agree with it reluctantly, I'll say, because I don't want to see that happen to an institution that's been around my entire life and much longer than that myself. But anyway, I gotta get the plugs in, brother. I gotta get it done, because who knows how much longer I have on this phone before it dies too. So here's the deal, folks. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Behind Enemy Lines, such as it is tonight, because it blew up on me and I kind of had to patch it together with a couple of strings and wires and, getting electrocuted as I speak here, holding the show together. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you subscribe to the channel wherever you are. Subscribe to the Buffoon of the Week on YouTube and on Rumble, and follow me on X at Berardelli. And probably the coolest thing you can do right now is you can also head on over to buffoonoftheweek.com, and you can check out all these supplemental things that we do here for the show. Every video we put up an accompanying article that you can get additional information about, and that's at buffoonoftheweek.com. And you'll find links to the book that I plug all the time, and also to our merch shop, which will hopefully pop up rather quickly here. There it is. And you can get a bunch of great t-shirts, apparel, drinkware. I love the drinkware, by the way, pal. I got to send you a couple of the cups and the bottles that I made here. Let me go to the drinkware real quick. Look how cool these things are right here. You got the tumblers. We got water bottles. The pint glasses are freaking cool as hell. I have one already that I made from the People's Republic of New York. And the mugs. And just for D, let me see if I can find it here. Just for D, we have a wine tumbler as well that I'm going to probably send over in due time. I can't find it on the screen right now, but I know that. Oh, there it is. View all. And is the wine tumbler there? No, I got to find it. Anyway, there's so much stuff on shop.buffoonoftheweek.com, including the book and all that. Check it out. And, yeah, there's so many ways you can support the show. However you want to do it, just do it. I certainly appreciate that. All right, pal. So,
little known fact: Gene hand makes those mugs, and he does carpentry on the weekends. If anybody needs anything,
I mean, sure, if you want to say that. I certainly design all the apparel and all the logos and all that stuff because, Galloway's not creative. He's lucky I get him to get on the show. You kidding? All right, so the last topic, and this kind of goes into the video that we released this morning on This Week in Dumbemocracy. Democrats are still losing their freaking mind. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to buffoonoftheweek.com because this is something that we've been following for a good long while here. Let me pull this up really quickly. Things, shit, I don't know. Here we go. Push that button, then push that button, and then we push that button, and there it is. The last 3 videos we've done have been detailing the lunacy of the left, how Democrats are losing their ever-loving mind when it comes to Trump and Doge and Elon Musk. And just in the space of less than a week, you have Chuck Schumer coming out with his cringe statements outside of rallies. You have Maxine Waters accosting security guards blocking access to federal buildings. And you have Anderson Cooper on CNN Live telling a Republican, former Governor Chris Sununu, don't be a dick in discussing Doge and Musk. And it all stems, pal, around this idea that Democrats refuse to give any credence or credibility to the discoveries made by Musk and Doge. It's absolutely crazy when you see a whole party lose its mind because people are looking to investigate fraud, corruption, and abuse. Imagine being a party that is pro-corruption, pro-abuse of funds, and pro this partisan spending, discretionary spending that's completely out of control.
I mean, they're in a terrible spot, right? Because of the things you've just said. They are being forced. Like, first of all, polls from CBS showed that 70% of Americans believe that Donald Trump is doing what he said he would do on the campaign, and he has a 53% approval rating, the highest of ever for him, including his first term. They're in a spot where they have to defend the indefensible. They have to attack the people who are uncovering fraud, waste, and abuse. They have to defend states that are harboring illegal immigrants, including criminal aliens. They have to defend USAID funding sex change operations in Guatemala. There was like a big kerfuffle about $50 million worth of condoms going to Gaza, and it turns out no, it was actually going to Mozambique, and that's the Democrats' big gotcha moment. And Elon Musk slapped them down. It's like, I'm not really sure we should be spending $50 million on condoms for anyone. And by the way, that's a lot of condoms, right? Like they're being forced in this position. What was great too, Gene, I don't know if you caught it the other day. Jon Stewart of The Daily Show came on and said, Democrats, please, you got to stop putting Chuck Schumer out there every time Trump does something. And I see Schumer, yeah, he has the whistleblower thing, but he's not doing daily press anymore because the guy is cringeworthy. He's another very old dude. The problem with Chuck Schumer is he is in control of his faculties, and he's just an evil bastard, right? And a leftist lunatic. But he's not taking main stage. The Democrats have no one. They have no message. It's not a messaging problem. It's the message, right? It's not that you're just not conveying it properly. What do they have to compete with what we, and by we, I really mean Trump and his inner circle, are currently doing, right? How can you be against any of the stuff he's doing? How can you defend the other side? Did you catch any of the Marjorie Taylor Greene subcommittee hearings, the DOJ subcommittee hearings?
Oh, I tried to catch.
Were hysterical.
I tried to catch some of it. I saw Robert Garcia saying that he's going to show a dick pic the same way that Marjorie Taylor Greene did. And, oh, it's a picture of Elon Musk. So funny, not cringe at all. And
do you remember when they first announced that subcommittee was going to come into existence, and there were Democrats claiming to be moderate Democrats coming on television saying they wanted to join it and they wanted to participate in it? If you watch today, the 6 that showed up, 5 of them gave their little 5-minute, statements about dick pics and whatever else they wanted to say about Elon Musk, and then they left and they yielded all their time to one poor woman, I forgot her name because she's irrelevant, to defend the Democrats' position, which was just nonsensical. At one point, she was saying that Donald Trump didn't bring down the price of food and inflation yet. The man's been in office 22 days, right? It's going to come down, right? But 22 days. Stop it. That was the subcommittee hearing on Department of Government Efficiency. They have nothing, Gene.
No, hold on. They don't have nothing. They have the Schumer whistleblower hotline. Let's just watch this clip real quick here.
With a number of my colleagues to announce a new Senate Democratic whistleblower portal to help fill the void that Donald Trump created by firing the government's independent watchdogs.
Woo! Chuck Schumer's on board. Yay! He's filling the void. What void? What void is there? These inspector generals that allowed all this money to go out unabated under their nose, their jobs should remain. They should be in those positions after allowing, like, for instance, FEMA, $56 million to go to luxury hotels for illegal migrants? That's someone that deserves to keep their job? Give me a freaking break. Chuck Schumer lives in his own world where his cheering is the coolest thing ever. He knows how to grill a mighty good cheeseburger, and he totally understands the pulse of the American people.
Couldn't have said it better about those inspector generals. Everyone claims that they're independent, right? A lot of them work in the very same buildings that they're overseeing, if you will. All this happened right under their noses. Presidents routinely replace these people. The big gripe with the Democrats right now is that they were fired without 30 days notice to Congress and a reason why. Show me where in the Constitution it says the president does not have full authority over the executive branch. Show me where in the Constitution it mentions anyone other than the President of the United States when referencing the executive branch in Article 2 of the Constitution, right? I can't wait for some of this stuff to make it up to the Supreme Court, because we do have to fix this. When the American people elect a president, he gets to pick who he wants in the positions in the federal executive branch bureaucracy, right? I'm not even certain that the civil service is legal in the federal branch, right? Can you picture John Adams taking over from George Washington and not being able to fire people in the executive branch? Like, does that make any sense to anyone?
Well, I'm still trying to understand, pal, the idea that Elon Musk is somehow president in place of Donald Trump and that he shouldn't be allowed access to federal information and private information of American citizens, when literally the executive branch hires staff to do exactly just that. What's the difference between hiring Elon Musk and hiring Joe Schmo tech person or, watchdog or inspector general to do the exact same things and access the same information? They're losing their minds over because it's Elon Musk.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things there. Number one, Elon Musk right now officially is a government employee. He's not taking a salary, but he has a top secret security clearance, and he was hired by the president.
Hey, pal, who gave Elon Musk that top secret security clearance?
That was none other than the Biden administration.
Correct.
So if he's a government employee with a top secret clearance, why can't he access government files in any department in the federal government? Who, some of these judges are starting to walk back their statements. You don't have to have Senate confirmation to have access to data, right? Because they're saying, well, the Treasury Secretary can access it, but not Elon Musk. Why not? There are bureaucrats. There are people sitting in cubicles or really at their house, because most of them are working from home, with access to this data, right? They may or may not have clearance. They're definitely not Senate confirmed, but they have access to it. What is the difference? By the way, Gene, let me rewind for 1 second. You mentioned that the Democrats' talking point right now is that Elon Musk is like the president, right? That Donald Trump has abdicated his resolute desk to Elon Musk. Remember the rule. Whenever the Democrats accuse you of something, they are doing it themselves. They're saying that because they know damn well that Joe Biden was not running a goddamn thing when he was president, that there were other people making the decisions and running the executive branch while Joe Biden was in the White House, right? Period.
Absolutely. And I got 2 points to say about that. But first, we do have some news breaking currently. A federal judge, and it's based on the discussion we're having right now, a federal judge has restored President Trump's deferred resignation program for federal workers in a decision that was released today. This was the buyout that was being talked about. A district court judge in Massachusetts of all places, made the ruling in favor of the White House Wednesday evening. In his decision, he wrote that the plaintiffs in the case.
While Gene gets his phone unmuted, I believe the decision said that the plaintiff did not have standing, which is another way that the federal courts skirt making a real decision, right? This is a constitutional issue. The president absolutely has the power to hire and fire and make human resource type decisions in the executive branch. When a federal court, yeah, so you got cut off right before you said that he cited that the plaintiffs had no, I'm assuming, standing, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and that, you know how I feel about this, Gene. That is the court sidestepping their role, right? This is a constitutional issue. This should have been decided on the merits of the case. I don't care about the standing thing. I hate when they sidestep an issue like that because it could just come back if the right person goes into the right district court and brings it back again.
Hey, SportsWire, thanks for the $1 super chat for us. He's taking pity on us now, pal. I appreciate it. Listen, I take pity money. I don't care. It's great.
Don't make me doge you, Gene.
Don't doge me, bro. But the other thing I wanted to say before my phone really cut me off is how absolutely brilliant is it for Donald Trump to let Elon Musk be the tip of the spear when it comes to Doge? Think about it this way. Donald Trump now has a billionaire ally, a multi-billionaire ally, working for nothing in the federal government, who is the front-facing image of Doge, and he's taking all of the shrapnel, all of the crap from Democrats right now, and shielding Donald Trump from all of that. Instead of talking about Trump, and Trump derangement syndrome, it's now EDS. It's Elon derangement syndrome. And Elon Musk is essentially shielding Donald Trump, who can then go and issue executive orders about plastic straws and things like that, and things that people agree with. And Donald Trump is no longer the flashpoint of it all. How freaking brilliant is this of that? So I'm sure that every time someone calls Elon Musk the unofficial president or the unelected president, Trump's having a really good chuckle about it because they forgot all about Donald now. And he can go and he can say and do what he wants and not worry about it. And by the way, Elon Musk is uncancelable. They can't cancel the guy. He owns the most influential social media platform in the world, and he can't be taken off of it. So they can't shut him up. They can't stop him from talking. And as you said about him being a special federal employee, he's not going to be fired or be diminished in any capacity because Trump is following the law here. It's an absolutely brilliant move by Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, and I know SportsWire mentioned this in the chat. Donald Trump learned a hell of a lot since that first term, and he had 4 years to think things through and develop a plan, right? Elon Musk is a brilliant pick, but if you look at the rest of his picks, they're equally as brilliant, right? He is picking force multipliers to serve in the federal government right now, to where he doesn't need to be, knees deep in all these issues. He's got people that are competent and on the same page and pulling in the same direction. There's no doubt that Marco Rubio is going to do the right thing, or Pete Hegseth, or Tulsi Gabbard, or RFK, or Kash Patel when he gets in there, right? And Elon Musk. They're doing a great job, and he picked the right people. So this term is a lot different because now he has a team of people pulling in the same direction instead of him pulling in one direction and other Republicans stabbing him in the back.
And it's a team of all flashpoints as well that come with their own cachet and their own magnitude of personality that people hate already. So absolutely brilliant move. I agree with you about the force multiplier aspect of it. He's making all the right moves in this first month, and it's good to see. So it's time to put this goddamn nightmare of a show to bed. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope that you are liking and sharing and subscribing, even though this show isn't exactly a great reflection on what we do here on Buffoon of the Week, on YouTube, on Rumble, and on X. But you see that we're problem solvers, at least, and that we're able to pull together a show at the last minute. So I want to thank you guys for hanging here with us for the hour. But it is time for those final thoughts, pal. I'm going to go first, just in case my connection dies here. I mentioned briefly Trump's incoming executive order about plastic straws. And I know I've mentioned this on the show before, but I'm actually going to have a column on Newsmax coming out very soon talking about this. But just a reminder to all these environmental people out there, and I'm looking at the chat right now, and just fuck you, Galloway. Always remember that the left cares more about looking good without solving a problem instead of actually solving a problem. The whole paper straw movement is born from a 9-year-old science project that went viral when he started going around to restaurants asking them to get rid of plastic straws, because the kid based his assumption about plastic straws being so detrimental to the environment that he said something like 800 million straws a year make it into landfills and refuse. And when it comes down to it, and we're looking at the impact on, plastic in the oceans and things like that, straws ended up being less than 0.03% of all plastic waste in the ocean. Now, getting rid of plastic straws, probably a good thing, but Democrats are looking at solving 99.975 of a problem. And to me, it's an example of virtue signaling to the max. The virtue signal is more important to politicians these days, especially those on the left, than actually solving a problem. That's why this whole thing about Doge and actual problem solving is so critical right now. Because if left to Democrats, they would want to look good and not solve a problem. than go through all of the slings and arrows that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going through and not solve a problem. So I kind of screwed up the analogy, but you get what I'm saying here, folks. Musk and Trump are doing the work, and it's good to see someone in federal government actually doing that work. Mr. Galloway, the floor is yours.
So I just want to close on Elon's team of what the Democrats are calling teenagers that are helping him out. A bunch of brilliant kids that are doing God's work right now. By the way, we could use some of them for tech support on this show here. Possibly.
Oh, go to hell. Go to hell and you die.
But I'll close on this, and it's a quick one. F you, Democrats, right? You're the party that believes 18-year-old girls are old enough to go to war. You're the party that thinks 16-year-olds should be old enough to vote. And you're the party that thinks 13-year-old boys are old enough to decide to get their dicks cut off, right? So spare me the drama, please.
Well, it's time to put this show to bed. Thank God. Again, thanks for hanging in there with us, folks. It's been an experience, I'll say that much. But I appreciate you hanging in for our show here behind Enemy Lines. You ready to shut this thing down mercifully, my pal, my friend, my buddy?
Put it down before it puts us down.
Absolutely. Folks, thanks for tuning in. On behalf of Mr. Galloway, I'm Gene Berardelli. At least I still think I am based upon what's going on here. We're out of here. So hit that motherfucking anthem. Good night.
Not allowed, not without electoral.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Teeth, don't let them have sway. Conservative battalions walking them out, marching through the streets while the buffoons all shout. Move in the shadows, flag on my chest, repping my clan, putting faith to the test. Cause left fake blues behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud in the war. But loud in the war. Forward in this Democrat case. Whistles in the dark, strategies unfold, allies unseen, but bonds remain bold. Commitment to the cause in the heart of the storms. In the name of freedom, we're breaking the norm. Cause let's take blues behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud in this war. Truth feels like wartime.